Good morning. So, something on my mind today was a memory I had of the people I used to hang out with. One of the things they used to talk about a lot was how they only lived in the moment. And they didn't like to allow themselves anxiety for the future or regrets from the past. Now, I understand some of the appeal of living in the moment, of not holding on to resentment, and of letting things play out without overthinking and holding on tightly to the outcome. Those are all things I understand and would even advocate. But I want to stress, there's a real danger to taking the doctrine of living in the present too seriously. And the danger is this: there are things in your life that are going to happen. And you have a responsibility to be prepared for those things so that you can navigate those catastrophes in such a way that you don't make them worse for everyone, including yourself. Some examples. Well, if they haven't already, you know your parents are going to die. If you have siblings, that's going to be very hard on them. And it's going to be very hard on you. But maybe you have the option to put in the work now, to be ready so that it doesn't decimate you. Another example, as a parent, your child might become extremely ill or hurt. Your child might end up somewhere where if you haven't been preparing, you might not be able to bring them back out of. I'm very lucky. When I was at my worst, when I was feeling my worst about myself and everything, my mother knew what she had to do and was there and pulled me out of it when I couldn't do it myself. Not everybody has the emotional depth to do that with their children, or to know how to do it in a way that doesn't leave their children feeling humiliated or discouraged. And that's something you can prepare for. That's something you can prepare for. That's something you can put work towards now so that it doesn't happen later. What about this? You might be in a situation someday where you have to fight to avoid harm to yourself or someone else. You can prepare and be ready when that time comes. There's things that you might not be able to live with if they happen to you or your family. And so it's worth it. It's worth it to prepare. Now, how does this relate to living in the moment? Well, some people can put too much faith into the unfolding of the future. The future is a place filled with joy and excitement and adventure, but also suffering and pain. And if you think hard, if you really think about the most devastating things that could happen to you in the future, and you feel that genuine anxiety about them, then you're in a good position to start preparing for those things. So that if they do happen, you're ready. The other part of not always living in the present is that sometimes you do need to bury the past. Sometimes what's in the past needs you to dig it up and give it a proper burial. The idea of ghosts, in my opinion, is something that came out of this mental state of something being dead but still haunting you. I also recognize the somewhat circular reasoning using the word haunting, but I digress. There might be things in your past that you never gave a proper burial, and they are still wandering around in your head, causing you to make things worse for yourself and other people. Part of living in the present should be living without the tortures of past mistakes or hardships. But that should be accomplished by resolving them, not by pretending they never happened or refusing to show them the respect that they're due. There's a reason these things upset you, and you need to figure out what that is. So I like the idea of living in the present, but there's also a lot to be said for having healthy anxiety toward the future. And respectful solemnity toward the past. Allow the future to help you prepare. Allow the past to help you learn and forgive. That's all part of living in the moment. Well, that's not exactly living in the moment. And so, you need to be careful when you say that. But what do you think? Do you think it's better to just, bury these things in the past and not concern yourself with the future? If so, let me know. Or maybe you're someone who's had to do something like that. In which case, I'd love to hear your story. Tell me about a time you'd prepared for a catastrophe and were able to stay the course when it happened. Or a time that you had to lay something to rest after allowing it to haunt you for too long. That's all that's on my mind today. Have a good day.